Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is Three Block Theater. And with X-Men Dark Phoenix looking to open in about 2 months, one would assume that there would be some hype for this movie, considering that it's the last one. It's the finale. It's the swan song of the Fox X-Men films. What we've spent the last near 20 years watching, well, almost 19 years watching, finally comes to an end in just like 2 months. And it's a bittersweet thing, isn't it? It's a real bittersweet moment when you look at the fact that these movies are going to be over and then they're going to be recast and brought into the MCU. And that's an exciting time as well. But again, it's pretty bittersweet, except what we're seeing now are headlines that talk about the opening numbers for the Dark Phoenix film, saying Dark Phoenix is on track for lowest X-Men opening ever. Yeah, that's right. The lowest X-Men opening ever. And there's reasons for that, by the way. There are absolute reasons for that here. But according to an early tracking report, Dark Phoenix is looking at a box office opening weekend of 40 million on the low end and 55 million on the high end. And that's a pretty damn wide range. It really is. That's a pretty damn wide range, because 40 million for an X-Men movie coming out in the summer is low. But when you take it back and you put it up against other movies that were like that, when you put it up against other films in that franchise, it actually is somewhat on par for the high end. But that's only if it does the high end, which who knows, it may or may not. But looking back here, for June 3rd, 2011, the release of X-Men First Class, arguably the best film in this franchise right now, what we see here is the June 3rd through 5th release was $55 million. 55 million in its first week of release in 3,600 theaters, averaging 15,000 per screen, which really isn't that bad, I guess, so to speak. But that's where we're at for that one. And then jumping over here to X-Men Days of Future Past. This is the big one here. X-Men Days of Future Past came out May 23rd, 2014, with a $90 million opening weekend. A $90 million opening weekend with only 300 more theaters, but definitely a larger average per screen. And the thing with Days of Future Past, though, was it was also the collision of the new trilogy, of the new franchise, and the old franchise. So a lot of people came out in a lot of anticipation for it to be good, as well as curiosity to see how they were going to pull off these two timelines. And it actually worked exceptionally well. And there's a reason why people really do love Days of Future Past. Although I would like to see them eventually release the Rogue cut somewhere in theaters outside of Blu-ray, but I've got it and it's pretty good. But anyway, so this movie did very well at the time. 90 million for its opening weekend, definitely on the high end. But then 2 years later, X-Men Apocalypse came out and only did 65 million in its same weekend, roughly the same weekend of release. Seeing here 65 million in 4,100 screens, with about the same average that we saw from X-Men First Class, a little over $15,000. Now you might be asking yourself, why did X-Men Apocalypse, coming off of X-Men Days of Future Past, do that poor? Well, it did that poor because it was the ratings were bad. The movie wasn't very good, and it had a lot of problems. The franchise should have probably ended with Days of Future Past and then just did Logan. That would have been a great way to send off Wolverine as a character. I think we all would have been okay with that one. We can all act like Apocalypse doesn't exist, but Dark Phoenix is in fact a direct sequel to Apocalypse. And given the fact that over the span of the last year and a half, we've known about this Disney buyout of Fox. We've known that they were working on this Dark Phoenix movie for a while. We know that it's had production problems, a lot of story problems. There was a big reshoot that went on with it. And a lot of people were talking about the leaked plot that came out was not very good. And even the first couple trailers were also pretty heavily panned. And even the last trailer that showcased a pretty important death was still pretty heavily panned for being a huge spoiler inside of the movie, inside of a trailer. But then again, my opinion on that one is that it was ultimately done as a way to simply just get people interested and go, wow, they showed us that in the trailer. What else is going to be in the movie? There's that. And a lot of people out there also aren't gigantic fans of not knowing what happened in movies going into them. I'm not even kidding you. I wish I was. I wish that wasn't reality, but it is a reality. People like to know spoilers. But that being said, the X-Men franchise has had its good films and it's had its bad films, and it's been a mix in between which is the majority. But for 19 years, I've been watching them, and for 19 years, I've been enjoying them. I enjoy Wolverine Origins to an extent. You know, I really enjoyed the Wolverine, and I loved Logan. I loved X-Men First Class. I adore Days of Future Past. Apocalypse is a one-time watch for me. And Dark Phoenix is this movie. It's this redheaded stepchild to finish out this franchise that, like one half of my life, essentially, that I've been watching. And it's a weird thing. It's an absolutely weird thing to think about, that it's coming to an end and there's no interest in it. And that might be as a result of the fact that people don't want to see it because they just want it to be integrated into the MCU because that's what we've been trained to want. And I'm not knocking that. I want it in the MCU. I would rather them take this movie, dump it on home video, let the fans who want to see it, and then be done with it and write it off. Or just lock it away in a vault and write it off and go, look, it's not coming out. And it's because we want you guys to have a fresh take in your mind before we see these characters. But because of this movie, Kevin Feige has said that they're going to wait at least 5 years. Well, the rumor is that they're going to wait at least 5 years before bringing the X-Men into the MCU. It's going to definitely be sooner than that. But this is a movie that is very much this black mark, the red in the ledger, if you will, on the X-Men franchise for not only its past, but its present and clearly its future. And it's just sad. It is. It's so sad that a movie that we all should be really excited to see is relegated to this discussion of, well, should we? Should we even bother putting it out? Should it even remotely be a thing? But apparently, looking at this estimate, not a lot of people are interested. And this is coming out far after Endgame. This is coming out in June. People don't want to see this movie because they want the characters to be integrated. And it's, I think, in Disney's best interest to just dump it to home video, take the loss, and bring the characters out a lot faster. I think this is the hard truth that they've got to hear. Although they don't listen to me, so who cares? But anyway, curious to know your guys' thought about this one. Let me know down in the comments below. Do you think Dark Phoenix is going to make more money than 40 million or more money than 55 million? Are you hyped to see it? Even hearing that good things coming out of WonderCon? I'd like to know your thoughts or your opinions. Let me know down below. Also, thumbs up the video, subscribe if you're new, and check back often for more content from me. I'll talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great day, and peace out.